My name is Professor Graham Jackson and welcome to BUS591, Glyndŵr Business School, Semester 1, 2021 to 2022. There are 10 lectures. I'll be doing the first 5 lectures and the second will be done by my colleague Neil Pritchard. We're going to have a look at the enterprise risk management and also all the techniques and various attributes in terms of corporate risk and crime and how best way to manage them. There'll be no examinations at the end of these seminars, but there will be an assignment after the first 5 lectures, which has to be in by November the 1st, and then there'll be a concluding one with Neil. So we have to look at this in the round, and I've recorded a lecture for you completely and loaded onto Moodle, because the first session on September the 27th will be online and we'll be doing it through Teams. So we'll be all clicking together at 9 o'clock on the 27th of September. All the following lectures then, the following 9 lectures will be in line on the university itself. It will be at Lecture Theatre B118. So we'll gather at B118, and what I'm quite prepared to do when we start, that would be Lecture 2, in line because it's blended learning due to COVID. We will start at 10 o'clock, but I'll be there from 9 o'clock, and that's what the official start is. So if you have children to take to school or whatever, or you can spend time, come down, and I'll be there anyway, and you can look at the lecture beforehand in your own time, the night before, the day before, or wherever, or during that 1 hour period. Then at 10 o'clock we will start with an introduction as a kind of formal tutorial. We'll then have a break an hour into the session, and we'll look at different ethics and case studies, and we'll talk about it and debate the principles of risk and crime and whether we should transgress and go over that red line, because don't forget, risk is lawful, crime is unlawful. So we're going to be doing that and we'll have some fun. I've been in over 12 different industries, ranging from banking to films, to pubs, to clubs, to food, to furniture, to golf, so on and so forth. And I'll be giving you practical examples, because not only am I an academic, but I'm also very much a practitioner. And quite often practitioners can tell you things you shouldn't learn at business school. But survival is one of the traits that practitioners have that maybe you don't see in the theory of business. But this is what corporate risk is all about, and we'll look at the fundamentals of risk and also the management of it and how we can make it effective and how we can control it and how we can make sure that we work and we live within the confines of what is true and allowable, and providing it is transparent and accurate and accountable, we shouldn't have any problems. So that's who we are. Have a look at the lecture notes I've posted already, but the thing to do is, this is the welcoming intro session, and at the beginning of each session I will give you a 10-minute intro to look at, and then when we meet together at 10 o'clock in person, that is lecture 2 in 118, we will be able to go forward. Now, I've been in different industries, both private sector, public sector, and mostly as chairman and as director, and always at a very, very senior level. During my banking experience, I saw lots of catastrophes, risk takers, different things that have gone wrong, gone well, and so on and so forth. And I've been on the stock exchange and floated 12 companies, some of which were very successful, some of which were an absolute disaster, because the risk outweighed the success or the rate. One problem with risk is it's driven by money, 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 and that is greed, greed, greed. But over the years, corporate surveillance and corporate rules and regulations and law has come in to make it more accountable, so that people go to jail or they get fined or they get banned from being a director. And with COVID, we've seen lots of things which have come about, companies going into liquidation because they had to close. But we'll look at those things as we go through the course, and I'll give you lots of examples and how best to avoid the chasm that is there that brings your company down. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I've learned a lot which I'm going to pass on to you guys, but I'm there to help you if you want to start a business and you want to take it forward. But with IT and the web and everything else from Facebook, there is now a different parameters for organisations to be accountable and they have to cope with all the different things which are going on. So we'll talk about those different aspects of business and risk management as we go through the course, and we'll look at it from an internal perspective and also externally. So we can record it and we can discuss it at length, and we can say, fine, I've learnt a lot and I'm going to avoid it, but sometimes you have to do it. So we're going to get further clarification of the different aspects of risk and how the elements of risk come into being and how we can reduce them and how we can make sure that nothing untoward happens, and who is responsible from the top of the bottom, from the directors who are running multinational companies and they have underneath them 300 or 400 employees, any of those who could break the law if they're not controlled or the line manager is not there, or it may be we turned a blind eye. So we'll look at different ideas, perspectives, whether it's the laissez-faire or let everybody be accountable, and also should we give people the control that they need if they don't, provided they don't take advantage of it. So we're going to look at that and see how the financial crash in 2008 impacted and where the audit and assurances came in, and the risk in terms of the fees. And you saw the banks collapse in 2008 and it cost the government trillions to bail them out. But where were the auditors? For the previous 5 years they gave all the banks a clean audit because the fees were so big they didn't want to lose the audit. But now that's been corrected because every 5 years you have to change the auditor so you don't get too close. That's a very simple example of where corporate risk and management has come into play, and the legislation has been brought forward to take out these dangers that are there. And the dangers can have negative consequences, and they can also be very positive because a new auditor coming in may bring new ideas, new controls and new perspectives to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that is where we have to learn where the risk is and how big a risk it is and whether we should take that risk. So we'll look at this as we progress, and we'll come forward with ideas in the tutorials and we'll debate it, because individuals are companies, or individuals dealing with each other, or with corporations dealing with each other, or the people within that organisation, whether or not they are going to be whistleblowers, or whether or not they're doing something intentional, or whether it happened by accident, or whether no one was accountable and maybe you didn't realise what was going on until it was too late. And then of course there is the adage that the first loss or the first crisis is the best one if you report it and try and resolve it. If you go deeper into it, it becomes bigger and bigger until it engulfs you. Then the risk is outweighed by anything and you go across that line, that red line where you transgress into a crime to correct what is going on. So I want you to be aware of the risk, I want you to be aware of the transparency, I want you to be aware of the theatre where risk is operating in, and also I want you to know what the consequences are. You lose your job, you lose your friendship, you lose your soul, and you may go to prison or you may go to jail, and you may not be able to get another job, or your credit rating has gone. And I'll teach you all the different things where to avoid these kind of catastrophes and the best way to try and ameliorate them so you have a good business future, because you're the future. I've learned a lot from how these things happen and how these things work, at the very top to the very bottom, and together we'll find out the best way to manage corporate risk and crime. So I look forward to seeing you on the seminar that we're going to have online. I've entered you all into the Teams, so at 9 o'clock on the 27th, click on to Teams. This is the one seminar we're going to have online. All the other 9 sessions are in the lecture theatre B118, which is being finished as we speak, but we're going to start online so we can all get to know each other and then get familiar with the subject. Have a look at the Moodle that I've loaded up the first hour of the lecture on different slides, and we'll talk to those as we go along so you have a feeling and a background, and I'll be posting some notes on there for you as well along with this introduction. So I look forward to seeing you on Teams on the 27th of September at 9 o'clock for the first session of BUS591, Corporate Risk and Crime and How to Manage It, Semester 1, 21-22. See you then. Bye.